Welcome back to Diaper Babies.
I thought we were the Bay City Babysitters Club
Oh
now.
yeah, the Baytown.
Remember?
All right, yeah.
Yeah, the Baytown Babysitters Club. Baytown.
Welcome back to the Baytown. Hold on, hold on. The Baytown Babysitters Movie Review Club.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Welcome back to the Baytown, the Baytown Babysitters Movie Review Club. In this episode, we're doing Jerry's choice. He got to pick the movie this week,
Right.
and he won. To do 1917.
Yeah, man.
So why don't you tell me why you decided to pick this, and then why don't you just tell me why you decided to pick this?
One, obviously I've seen it, so
Right.
you
didn't have to do anything this week.
Yeah, no, I watched it like 3 times.
Okay.
Yeah. One, there are a special group of movies that came out in the late 2000s, 2010s, this would be movies like No Country for Old Men. This would be movies like There Will Be Blood. This would be movies like I'll even put the Suspiria, the new Suspiria movie on that list.
Fuck yeah.
I'll put, even though it's a little bit early, but it's still there, kind of like the Lord of the Rings. I'll put that. I will put I know I'm missing like a couple others that I had thought of, but these are specific movies that check all my motherfucking boxes.
Okay.
This is a movie that checks all those boxes: cinematography, story, engagement, all those like really good like check marks in a box to say, damn, I not only do I like this movie, I want to watch it again. Like right after I got done watching it, I want to watch it again. You want to watch it again? That shit. And that's really why I wanted you to watch this, so you can tell me how much you fucking hated it.
And I will.
Yeah. But I'll defend it. I just really
I figure we're gonna have a good back and forth with this one.
Yeah. That's why I watched it, because after production meeting, I was like, no, I need more ammunition. But you
obviously don't know me well. Yeah. I need zero reason to fucking like stick with my argument.
Yeah.
If I make an argument, I stick with it and I will figure it out. I'm very good at digging myself out of the grave.
I know. You can get dug in there. I'm just going to make sure that, it's like, well, but yeah, these are those type of movies, these specific type where I just cannot find anything really wrong, where I can't, I can't go, yeah, but no, it's like,
I feel like this is a risky operation because I'm bringing more to the table this time too.
Right.
And what if I break the glass for you? Like, what if our friendship can't be repaired after this? What if it's just like, what if you're like sitting there and I'm just like, God's not real, and you're like, like, fuck, dude, I knew something was up with that.
No, a movie would never like, yeah, I guess we can't be friends because he didn't like 1917 and stuff. No, I'm not that fucking shallow.
Yeah. So, okay. All right.
Yeah. Because I know you like don't care about like the Lord of the Rings, and it's just like, not my house.
No, and it's funny that you bring up the Lord of the Rings. I don't care about that. There's only 3 Star Wars movies. Like,
yeah,
but I've seen them, and I can tell that they are top of the line movies. is.
Yeah,
Like
cinematically.
cinematically, just I mean, even the scripts are good. It's
Yeah.
just not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
That's all. And this movie falls in that category for me. So I think that this will be a good conversation.
Yeah, where like Lord of the Rings has like, okay, the ones that I mentioned, like Lord of the Rings, the idea of shooting 3 movies back to back.
Right.
No Country for Old Men just has that great script. It's just a fucking killer script, and it engages you even though there's no payoff at the end, because that's the idea of the movie. What do you call it?
Right.
There Will Be Blood really like brings in that idea that they weren't all just cowboys in the old West.
Mm-hmm.
They were entrepreneurs too, you know.
And ruthless ones.
And ruthless fuckers. Yeah. I mean, and you know, the cinematography and this, you know, 1917 just has that cinematography, in my opinion. And yeah, so what did you think of the movie, Jacob?
All right, so the best way for me to say that to say this is that it is a good movie, but I am indifferent to it.
Okay.
I put it in the same category as like Lord of the Rings, and you know, in that style of like anything about Vikings, any of that like epic picture stuff that you referenced is just kind of like, yeah, it's good, but it's not my thing. It's
Okay.
just it's not something that I like to watch movies on. I don't like war movies and, you know, Harry Potter's and Lord of the Ringses and things like that.
Okay.
Like they're all good movies. I know this, but they're just not my thing. So that's how I feel about this movie. It was a good movie. It was done well, just not my thing. So
yeah.
Well, obviously you liked it though, so let's see why. Like,
No, okay. Oh, well, all right. Starting out with cinematography, it does have that continuous shot, even though I know for a
it's
fact
not.
it wasn't. Yeah,
Right.
there's cuts.
Yeah.
They're clear cuts.
They're flawless
Yeah.
cuts, like absolutely flawless cuts. But yes, there are cuts.
Yeah, but I guess because of the continuation of that shot, it draws you in. You
When
kind
it
of
wants to.
Yeah, well, when you watch the scene, you have to pay close attention to details a lot quicker because they're gone in a flash. I really enjoyed that idea. That, and also the camera really makes me feel like the third person, even though they're not, you know, I'm not like the first person shooter in this game,
Right?
but it makes me like they're not talking to me, which would have made it weirder. But I'm like,
but you're standing behind the guy that's being talked to.
I'm following their story. Right. Simple story too.
And that's something that I think all movies try to achieve. Ultimately, is to put you there, and this movie does do a good job at that. But to me, the camera work was about, so once they're out of the trench the first time and they're starting their mission, I was fucking over it at that point. That's 10 minutes into the movie. At that point, I'm over it. And it looks cool, good job, but it's like using the same special effect over and over and over again. You know what I mean? Like just putting blood splatter, blood splatter, blood splatter, and it's the same one. So like it just got old. And also the fact that the camera is constantly panning and turning makes it look like they're just zigzagging. That makes it look like they're just zigzagging back and forth, and they're just on a sound stage and they're changing the green screen. That was cool shit. Did you see that? That was weird. Yeah. But yeah, so so I lost interest, and it took me out of the movie more than it brought me in the movie. Some scenes, like you mentioned, it really does make you feel like you're right there, and that trench scene is one of them. But at that point in time, it lost its effect on me. So.
Like, and I disagree because I liked okay, the airplane. I like how the camera folds around and we see the airplane because they're in no man's land. The airplane
Right.
goes and they have to huddle,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh, it's one of ours. And they get up and they start walking, and then you see the airplane in the background coming back.
Mhm.
And like there are small moments like that. They shoot the flare, like
Mhm.
they get out of the cave of the enemy
Mhm.
and they shoot the flare, and then he throws the gun, and as they're walking away, you start seeing the flare drop. Like that would never be in any other movie where they would pay
Yeah.
attention to the flare, but
No.
it's there.
Right. And that camera, and it does do that several times
Yeah.
throughout the movie. I was just over that trick, that technique by that time.
Yeah.
And like it still
Okay.
worked. It still worked. Especially when on the farm, when they're in the middle of nowhere and that plane comes and hits that barn, like it gives you the feeling that you need to back up.
Yeah.
Like, and that is hard to do in a movie. So I really think that was really, really good.
Mm.
But but again, I was still just over it at that. And it happens later in the movie a couple more times. But I'm like I said, just over it.
Yeah. And then like I think the only time the camera is not following one of our main characters is okay, so after the one guy gets shot, he falls back, he's knocked out, it's nighttime, he
Yeah.
comes forward, he gets up, he looks out the window,
Mm-hmm.
and the camera pushes out the window.
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually a miniature. Like that's not a
Oh, okay.
sound state. The camera pushes out that window, and then we're in a miniature.
Yeah.
And then the camera starts panning down.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go from a miniature because you'll see the flares are starting to dissolve in the background because it's nighttime.
Yeah.
And then they put us into like a studio basically.
Right.
Which it's like that's that movie making magic that like
Mm-hmm.
I really like, to go from a miniature to
Right.
show this whole town to this like really intense scene. And well, not intense, but just this really like glorious burned out scene.
It is an intense scene, and it's a
No.
very beautiful scene because he's in those ruins, and there, I don't know how many dudes they had shooting flares, but it must have been a couple hundred, because there was never not like I've seen flares shot at in war video,
Mm.
and like they don't shoot them that frequently.
Yeah.
But it made for a very beautiful scene.
Yeah.
And again, when that first not yet Nazi
They're just
comes around the
Germans.
corner, yeah,
in
the
World War
not yet
One.
Nazi comes around the corner. That's another scene where that camera does a good job of making you go, oh fucking, I need to get out, go, like get away, like we need, like you think like you should yell, we need to move, like we need to go. So again, that's another scene where it works really well.
Oh yeah,
I didn't know
definitely.
that was a miniature. That was a hell of a miniature.
Yeah, and especially a miniature to a set to
Mhm.
keep that detail like perfect. I mean,
Yeah.
if one little thing is off, when the
Yeah.
camera pans down, it goes dark to pull up the sound studio, then all of a sudden that rock just goes whoop,
Mhm.
just disappears.
I bet you they did that with today's technology, because I guarantee you they had that set built. They took that picture of the courtyard with all the ruins and then put it in a 3D printer and printed that shit,
No, yeah,
and then put
probably.
it outside of there, and then took a picture of the window, 3D printed that shit, and then obviously had it painted or whatever,
Yeah.
and then fucking did it like that. And that's probably a big help, rather than having somebody create it or whatever, or
Or
try
just
and build
computer
both of them
generate that,
yeah, yeah.
And that's one thing is like the computer generation. Like when I was watching behind the scenes, there is some like the airplane stuff. That's all CGI because
Yeah.
you're not gonna crash a 1917,
Fuck no, that
1914
thing's worth
plane.
$1 million,
Yeah,
man.
you're not doing. Yeah, you're not
Well,
doing
you
that
can
shit.
tell. So you can tell the planes in the far sky when they're shooting, and he's like, "Who's winning?"
Yeah,
Um, that you can see that CGI. Like
yeah,
you can
yeah,
see that sky, that cloud, all the clouds, like all of that is CGI, and it's very obvious.
yeah.
But they put the detail where it needed to be, and that was the plane coming at them.
Oh
So
yeah, oh yeah. Another thing that I really enjoyed about this movie
hold on one
is
second.
oh
Hold on. Try to remember that thought. Do you know for a fact that that was CGI? The plane coming at the barn.
the plane crashing
Mhm,
is CGI when they have it in the barn
mhm.
and it's on fire. I think some of the fire is CGI, but that's a plane sitting in the barn. You know, that's really there, and the guy's struggling to get out
Mhm.
and stuff. That's real.
Okay, I was going to say because like obviously you don't want to crash a plane. John Landis will tell you all about it.
Yeah,
But I was thinking because I was thinking like you said, oh no, you don't want to crash in 1917, and I was thinking to myself like, first of all, that plane's older than that. That plane's
yeah,
probably
that's
like 19 fucking
11,
oh eight,
1990.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
But not beyond that point. I know with the Too Fast Too Furious, we're all furious at everything movies. Um, they they take frames of other cars and wrap it with like they take all the frame off the car and then build old muscle car looks onto the car. So it looks just like, you know, a Dodge Charger, but if it's going to get wrecked, they buy a Honda Civic
yeah. That's
and
what
make
I
a
was thinking.
body kit on it. And so they might have done that to a plane. They might have taken like a prop plane, like a crop duster, and just made it look like this really antique machine and then crashed the shit out of it.
That's probably what they did for the actual plane to
Right.
be
Yeah.
in the barn, but I don't think they would have like, like, okay, all you gotta do is crash into that barn and we're good, dude. Like, yeah, I ain't doing that.
Yeah. 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 I guess
Another
it's a little bit different in a plane than it is
yeah,
car.
another CGI that I remember is the rat in the bunker.
Hmm. Yeah.
That just and so instead of trying to get this rat to do what they wanted to do,
Well,
all they had to do was CGI rat, and
yeah.
it looks a little goofy. If anything, I would say the one thing about the movie that, like, I just kind of look and go, doesn't look that good, is that rat.
Mhm.
It just looks kind of like fairy tale-ish,
Mhm.
But other than that, I mean, the production on this
Yeah.
movie to get all those little details
Mhm.
really good, down to costumes, down to, when they're going through the British
Mhm.
ranks to get to the front line. All those suits look real. They look really good. Like I've
Mhm.
seen photos and stock footage of World War I,
Mhm.
and all of that just looks really great. All their weaponry looks really like honest.
Mhm.
There's even like an honesty.
I can't argue the realness of anything or the accuracy of the looks of things
Yeah,
because I have no idea.
yeah.
And when I look at it, I go like I know enough to know like they weren't out there in tactical gear.
Oh yeah,
So they were probably closer to like Civil War outfits than they were to what we wear today. So that looks right to me.
yeah,
Check. Okay, that's fine. Weaponry, that's definitely an old ass rifle. Like it only holds like 6 rounds. Like it, yeah, okay, that's right in my head. So
yeah.
like I bought everything. I don't know how accurate it is though. And I'm glad to hear that they did that.
The only thing that I don't know about is it didn't have a protruding barrel. You notice that? Like the barrel and the
Mhm,
stock
mhm.
were flush.
I noticed no, there was a barrel. It was like
Was
that's
it?
all
Because it
you
looked,
really need. Because those were all right, so those were long rifles.
yeah,
Those are really old long rifles. So the whole wood shaft was the length of the barrel.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't, but as time went on, we started shortening the wood so the barrel looks longer.
Yeah, the stock. Yeah.
So no, not the stock, the barrel.
Well, I thought
The
no,
stock is
the
the
wood.
shoulder
You know.
piece.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, so I don't know if that's accurate, but that's what I think the case is.
Yeah.
I think there was probably like, yeah, I don't know enough, so I'm not
Yeah.
gonna keep going.
Yeah, exactly. Another thing that I really enjoy in this movie, check another box, is the music in it. I thought really gave you a sense of urgency or heroics or uh, danger, or whatever needed to be like admitted in that scene. It really just kind of like added to the scene instead of like taking it over. Like, how like sometimes there'll be a war march and it'll be this like epic, like, symphony orchestra playing, and
Yeah,
it kind of like, it's like, oh, the music's there to tell me to feel this way. And
right.
this, I feel, just kind of just turns that dial up to 11. It doesn't need to be overpowering, like especially like in like a speech. Like you think about like William Wallace and Braveheart.
Mhm,
How like in that the music's sweltering because he's giving
mhm,
this dramatic speech,
mhm.
and us as an audience member goes, okay, the music is there to tell us that we have to feel this way. I feel that the music was there just to kind of like add to the scene instead of dictate the scene.
That's an interesting point because I have the exact opposite opinion.
Yeah.
Number one, I don't remember the music. Number two, I wrote down um the music takes me out of this movie. This movie should have had zero music in it. Every time that the music was not playing, whether it was dramatic and it was like in the middle of a gunfight
Okay.
or it was dead silent and they were just walking, it made the movie feel real. It made the movie feel like I'm watching this happen, not watching a movie about this happening.
Okay.
Um, so as soon as the music would come in, yeah, I could see why people would think it would add to this team, but the rest of the movie is done so well that it just felt like it was documentary and there shouldn't have been music.
Yeah. Well, I think if you had the absence of some kind of soundtrack or score, it may feel a little bland. It's like kind of like, imagine playing Red Dead Redemption without those like music swells like kicking in at some points. I think it would be very
Yeah, but
dull.
those were just like signs of that was foreshadowing shit.
Yeah.
That wasn't like while it was happening, the sound of the plane coming and when the plane's motor dies, the silence before it hits uh the burning or the
The barn.
fucking thank you. Jesus Christ, I was just around them for 3 days. Um but yeah, the barn, like that silence, that bit of like you hear the motor like and then it's just silence and you know that that plane's still fucking coming and you're
Yeah.
watching it come and it's dead silent. That makes it so fucking intense. But if you put like a do 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 like then like god, like why interrupt such a perfect scene with sound that isn't there, that it wasn't there, that is not necessary, in my opinion. I'm glad it worked for you,
Yeah.
but all right.
I'll give you two scenes that really like kick in. One, when he's hauling ass over that bridge to jump
Mhm,
into the river,
mhm.
you can hear his like determination.
Yeah,
And I feel that determination. And then when he makes a decision, like, I'm gonna have to fucking jump over this trench to get to my end goal, my end
yeah,
game.
yeah,
I'm gonna have to do this. There is no way about it, or there is going to be a lot more people dying because of
yeah,
me, you
yeah.
know. And that's really where like the music kicks in and it adds to the scene. So
Can I tell you that there was 2 separate times during this movie that I thought it was over and it wasn't?
Really?
Yeah. Like, and then when I like realized the movie was going to continue, I was like, fuck, they should have stopped it there. Like 2 different times.
Like before he even gave the letter to Benedict, I mean, yeah, Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Like,
that was his mission.
I know, but
Oh.
think of what the fuck was that?
What? I didn't hear anything.
Dude, that was loud as shit. But all right, so think about it like this. He goes up to the farmhouse that he gets dropped off at by all the other annoying ass British soldiers. And then he goes into the house, that fucking German shoots him in the head.
Yeah.
That's the end of the movie.
That's the end of the movie.
Because that is logical as shit. No, that soldier's not going to fucking make it. You sent him 200 goddamn miles on foot with a piece of bread and Germans fucking everywhere. Like, that's how that movie really ends. That's number 1. Number 2, when he gets to the camp and he sits down up against that tree and it starts panning in on him as they're all getting up, thought the movie was over because I thought he was fucking dead. And I was like, that's the awesome ending. Like, they find whatever, they can find the note and live. But in reality, he probably would have died right there from exhaustion, and they would have thrown his body in the pile of other bodies, and then they would have went to attack those Germans and they would have been slaughtered, because that's how war works. Not fucking the happy ending of your brother wrote you this love letter or whatever, and then I'm gonna go look at my thing and watch the sunset. Isn't life wonderful? Yeah. Like, no, that's not real. That those 2 times that movie should have stopped, and those 2 times the movie would have been better.
Yeah, that's just like that time that, you know, Patrick Swayze, Keanu Reeves, and those 4 other guys jumped out of an airplane, but they forgot to pack the parachutes. Or that one time where, you know, like I got that special copy of Terminator 2 where the Terminator 2 wins.
That's what I'm saying. We have to understand that the movies that we are seeing are wrapped up in pretty little bows so that our delicate fucking psyches, because they're stressed mentally because of every goddamn issue in this world, need it that way. Because if the movie would have ended when he got shot by that fucking German the first time, somebody would have lost their shit. So
that's way too much like Shaving Private Ryan.
I didn't see it. I like I said, I don't like
war movies. Yeah, like
it's fucking horrible. Like, why don't they make a movie about fucking, you know, I don't know, something horrible.
Something horrible.
Like, yeah, it's a war movie, dude. Like, don't glorify fucking like, you want to tell a story, that dude died when that German shot him. That tells you war ain't worth it. You're not going to survive. Try and talk to somebody before you go shooting somebody or like starting a war with somebody. Like, that brings the realism home. That is like the truthfulness of war. Not you're going to travel for 10 days without water and food, and you're going to not bang this woman in a basement, and you're going to survive these not yet Nazis, and you're going to hand this guy his letter, and then you're going to be happy ever after at the sunset on a beautiful field looking at a picture of your wife and kids. No, that's Hollywood bullshit. Same thing with American Sniper. Fucking badass movie, just bunch of lies. So
yeah, I agree with that.
So like, it just, you know, don't glorify shit like this. That would be like, let's all go join a gang, and then they just show this awesome version of the Bloods and Crips. Like, all we do is barbecue, and sometimes we have to go through the red zone, and then
god damn, that's good,
barbecue some other shit, and then, you know, this and that. Like no, dude, don't glorify that shit. Like, no. Dude,
Well, the original ending was, I guess, like he dies of tetanus. Like that's why he sat under the tree, is because earlier when he got stabbed in the hand by a fucking barbed wire fence and then put it in a corpse in no man's land. Yeah, that thing had been festering like for 24 hours.
And if you go back and watch that scene, he is blue. He's dead.
Oh.
And he's not moving. He's dead. That's I think that's where that movie was going to end. No. Go back and watch the scene. He's playing dead. He's like bluish, and he's like a very pale blue, and he's not moving. He's not blinking. I think that movie not only should have ended, I think it was going to end there at some point, maybe initially. And then, they were like, hey, slap on another 10 minutes of feel good stuff, because that dude, like that scene, the way it like draws in on him and stays in on him while everybody's starting to get up.
Yeah.
To me, I was like, oh, he's dead. Like that he never got the message to him. He's dead. Like
the brain is dead. We're just waiting for the body to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me see what other shit I wrote down.
Yeah. What else did you write?
Well, okay, so this is a bitch more at Peacock than it is anything else, but the ads really fucking bummed me out during this movie. Like,
I don't have ads, so
oh, you got okay. Jerry's a rich guy and he can afford the ad-free version. Mine was interrupted by about 5 ads throughout the movie.
Jeez, what ads do they have on fucking the cock?
I don't even remember. No. They weren't very long. They were only like little 4-second ads, 3-second ads.
Yeah.
But it was just enough to take me out of the movie. Oh. I think like they should probably make that movie ad free just because of the movie that it is.
Maybe that's why. Maybe it would have been a better movie in general if there were just no commercials in there.
Nah, it didn't take me out that bad. Like they were short enough that I was able to jump right back in, but they, let's see. Okay, so the other thing that I have with this movie is, and I know the argument of like in a survival situation, your body will do more than you think it can, right?
Adrenaline and shit like that.
But no dude or 2 dudes by themselves are going to make that travel with that few provisions and those things happening to them and survive.
No, it's like me walking from here to Orange.
No, it would be like you walking to like Harrisonburg, and which is a 3-hour car ride, because you gotta remember this day night through this shot, like through this thing. Well, all right, so
not only it's like a day.
They leave in the morning, they go through that night, and then the sun is setting, so it's probably closer to like 36 hours than 48.
No, the sun's coming up. Remember the charge at dawn. First thing, like he's under the tree and the when they're singing.
Yeah, so a full day's
it's a full day.
A full day's like it's still over 24 hours of walking steadily.
Oh yeah, it's 24 because
he doesn't really camp or anything.
No one's he passes out, so we don't know how long. Like, was it an hour? Was it 30 minutes? Because it was starting to get dark by the time that he was entering the city, but it was dark when he got there.
Well, when they dropped him off at that house initially at the ruins in the morning, because it's the army, you're not going to get an assignment at noon.
No.
Maybe, but probably not. It could possibly have been earlier than that.
Yeah,
but it seemed like mid-morning ish. So he gets dropped off by that platoon, and the sky is starting to turn grayish blue, which means it's sunsetting.
Yeah.
And then he's out from that period, let's say dusk, to probably maybe 11, 12.
Yeah, because
And
that
then
when he bumps into that girl down in the bunker, she's still awake,
yeah, yeah.
So
Well, I imagine she doesn't sleep much anyways, but
no, no.
so then, so I would say that's relatively close to like 36 hours of continuous moving, extreme stress and trauma, and exhaustion, hunger, dehydration. You're bleeding out of your fucking head and hand. I don't think you make it. I honestly think that that's where that
There are going
movie
to be
was going to
so
end.
many Marines on here being like, let me tell you something.
Oh
Like
no,
something like,
I don't doubt that these fucking Marines and
like they're
these
going to,
Army Rangers and shit are hardcore as fuck.
yeah.
Like I know David Goggins goes on 24-hour runs. Like I understand that there are extreme people, but this is 1917. You're lucky if you didn't die from polio. So
Shit, the fucking common
those
cold took out motherfuckers around then.
right, those superhumans that would get on here like Jocko Willink and David Goggins, those type of guys, yeah, they didn't exist back then. That's evolution. That's what that is. That's evolution in practice, because there weren't those fucking guys back then. And
No.
think about it. Have you ever heard of any like super soldier type fight? Like in the Viking times, there was like the Haskins thing where that Viking stood on a bridge and like killed 40 some British or European invaders by him fucking self.
Yeah.
But like this period of time, no, this is not, those people don't exist.
No, I
So
guess the old standard of war makes people do crazy things. I mean, I think
right,
that okay, like the standard of what he has to do. Like, I have to do this. Like,
right,
imagine that guilt if he would have showed up late. Of like, well, we
right.
lost over 20,000 men in this
Mhm.
battle because you sat down on a tree and took a break, shit
Well,
like
yeah,
that.
I mean, obviously there's motivating factors,
Yeah.
but this movie changes quickly too. And I don't know if you caught it, but it goes from like your, we'll say it's like super diet version of Rambo, where these like guys are on this mission. I'm saying Rambo, not First Blood. I'm talking about like the like Rambo 3, when he's
Okay.
like in the desert. So like they're setting out on missions, right?
Right.
But after that German trench where, oh, their rats are bigger than ours too.
Yeah.
Like after that part, it's survival. He he they get to like, you can see the turn in him from I'm a soldier to I'm trying to survive right now.
Yeah. Second,
You
he
can
says, why me? Why did you pick me?
yeah.
I
And
think that's when he realized, because that's the
yeah,
first time also, if you notice, like right after that, that's when he pulls the tin out of his pocket. He looks at the picture. And I think that's when his survival hits in.
yeah,
I'm fucking hungry. I've had a little bit of water,
yeah,
and it's not like me as an audience member. I sit there and I watch and I go, okay, he's trying to get that letter to Benedict Cucumber Patch.
right,
But in actuality, no, he's just trying to get home. That's
yeah,
all this man is trying to ever.
right,
That's all he's doing. And if that means taking another letter, doing this, doing that,
mhm,
doesn't matter what I got to do. All I
mhm,
hope is that I go fucking home,
yeah.
instead of
And
like,
obviously that's everybody's thought
oh
there.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
I mean, I'm sure there's that guy that's like, no, I'm a lifer, I'm gonna die in the army.
yeah,
But like most people are just like, no, I want to go fucking home. Like this is not what I wanted to do.
yeah,
But you can see that turn in the movie where he goes from like soldier to like once he loses his gun, like he decides to not carry his gun anymore.
Yeah. When? Because I actually, this is why I had to watch it a third time.
Okay,
Because I was like,
so
I'm
I
hawking it.
think I think that he doesn't pick it back, or he leaves it shortly after he gets up from being shot. After that point, he no longer has a gun because he doesn't return fire at the pre-Nazi, and he doesn't. I remember him picking something up when he was in the woman's basement, but I don't know if it was the gun or not. And but you never see him use it. He doesn't use it. He could have walked into those other two pre-Nazis and shot them both. And I want to say he had his gun at the first one, but I don't think he had it at the second one. But I don't remember. When did he lose the gun?
Okay, when he drops his gun, when he sneaks in to kill, like he walks into the building, okay, when the Germans are sitting
Yeah.
there drinking,
Yeah.
and the other one comes up right beside him, and
Yeah.
he backs him up to a
Mhm.
wall,
Yeah.
and is
Yeah.
doing this seriously,
Uh-huh.
and then he like kind of like, you
Yeah.
let me go, I'll let you go. And
Mhm.
that's when he yells in German English,
Mhm.
and he drops the gun and then strangles this motherfucker, which also,
Okay.
may I
Yeah.
talk about that in a scene? That shit looked fucking brutal. That actually looked like he was choking this motherfucker out for real.
Yeah.
And the, like you said, well, why didn't he just shoot those guys?
Yeah.
I think his brain won because he didn't have enough time to react to shoot him, and then his
Mhm.
friend come in, and then he has to deal with that. But also, you got to remember, there's like 50 other German guys out there that would come storming, and he's just one guy with like
Well,
nothing.
that's okay. So we don't know how many. You said there's other Germans. There probably are, but we don't know how many Germans are
We
around there.
don't, yeah, we
He
only see like
he ran into
4.
3. Well, yeah, 4 with the guy in the house.
Yeah,
But
he
the guy
shot
at the house.
one.
Okay, so here's the other thing: the guy in the fucking house was shooting. So maybe they sent out a search party, and that's why he ran into those other pre-Nazis.
Yeah.
Like that could be it. But in reality, I think that if he would have killed the first guy quietly and shot the second guy, he could have been on his way and there would have been a no issue. I don't think that there were more guys in that area. But that's my take on the movie.
Yeah.
So,
I
whatever.
just think that at that time, he knew
But
where
where
he
was
had to
his
go.
bayonet? Where was his bayonet?
He
You
took the
the
bayonet
first.
off. If you look when either A, like I think his bayonet fell when he shot the German, he shot the German, and the German
Uh-huh,
shot him,
uh-huh.
and he fell back.
Yeah. You
Uh
think it came off right
I
there?
think it came off, and all he had time to do when he was getting ready to go was to grab the gun. Just grab the
Okay.
gun. It's better than not having no gun,
I
even
I,
though,
I think that even though okay, so he lost his bayonet, I feel like even at that time they had another knife because I have my great granddad's World War II
oh
bayonet
yeah,
knife.
yeah, he might have, but I think at
So
that
I
time when that
know that,
German,
but not it wasn't the bayonet knife, but it was yeah.
like the video and the audio were not matching up there for a second, so you were still talking, going like,
I'm trying to get comfortable. I don't know why this. I don't
it's
know
the
why
seat.
this
That's
isn't comfortable anymore. Yeah, I
but
need a better chair.
I mean, I think when he had that German guy around the throat, it's like, yeah, I could technically go for the knife right now, but I have to shut this motherfucker up now.
Right.
And the
But
best
why
way to do
didn't
it is just,
but why didn't he when he finished that one? I know there was only seconds, but he should have finished that guy and pulled a knife. Whether it was off the German or himself, because we know the German would have had one. Um, I've seen those.
Yeah.
So like I know that they carried those from that time period. I
No.
don't know about the gun, but I know the knives well. And they carried one and he should have pulled his and stabbed the other guy. Like there's so many things about this that I just didn't feel were super accurate. But
Mm.
again, I've never been there, so I don't know the situation firsthand. So I can only speculate, I guess.
Yeah. The only thing, like, I think it was that moment when he choked out the German
Right.
and he just ran.
Yeah.
Is that if I stay here and actually try to fight, I'm going to lose time.
Yeah.
So just go, that just in his brain.
Yeah.
I know she told me the bridge, get to
Mhm.
the bridge. It's the river, go down the river.
Mhm.
That's why he just, because he just runs past that one drunk German guy and stuff. And
Yeah.
like, he just goes.
Yeah.
And then I think we see two different German guys start shooting at him. But that's all I can think of is just that, just go.
Mhm.
Don't sit here and waste your time fighting. Just go. So
Yeah, I mean that's a good point too.
no. So, but you know, um, you got anything else you want to talk, or you want to talk about you go see this in the theater?
All right. So there are a couple more things.
Okay. Yeah, break it down now.
Let me see. Let's start on the back page so I don't have to do this. Okay, yeah. So here, yeah. All right. The first thing is, let me find it again. Okay. So the first thing is that that death scene on the farm was about 7 minutes too long. That was the most long, drawn out fucking bullshit I have seen in a movie in a long time. They milked that death scene for so long, trying to make it look dramatic, that I ended up laughing because it was just too long. Like, I understand you have 4 minutes when you're going to bleed out. Basically, it's like 4 or 5 minutes or something.
Yeah.
But like, that scene didn't need all that shit. That shit was like, it was way too much. And by the end of it, I was laughing. I was like, "You better take them rings," and then he took the rings, and I was like, "Ah, I fucking knew it." But yeah, that really bugged me. I didn't like that.
I really don't one way or another with it. I remember it because we didn't spend a lot of time with that character. I think it would have been better if instead of that character dying, being stabbed right there, even
Yeah,
though technically that's our main character.
yeah, yeah,
That's the one who is technically sent this mission, I think I would have liked it better if uh both of them would have gotten into the city and then
mhm,
been shot by the Germans in the town. And I
mhm,
think there would have given us a little bit more time to understand this character.
yeah.
Uh, but yeah,
That would have
yeah, I'll
probably,
agree to, like, yeah, maybe it was a little too long, but I don't think we were given just enough. We saw him save the one guy's life. He did crack a couple jokes, after when, he our technical main character gets this dust in his eyes and he can't, and he's kind of pissed, why did you
yeah,
choose me?
yeah,
And he tells a silly joke about, the guy who doesn't like the bath conditions or whatever, so he gets a special hair gel for him and shit, and the
mhm.
rat's gnaw his ear off, and it's not a piece of tin, it's also a ribbon. It makes us like kind of enjoy the character, but I think it would have been better if if they're going to
I
kill that character off, kill him in the city.
and I like that idea simply because if they would have waited to that, like maybe he could have been injured or something, you know, he could have gotten a good gash or something from the German. But if he would have died in the city, they could have cut all the fucking dumb, emotional, long ass, drawn out death scene out of it, because there's other Germans shooting at him. He doesn't have time to go sit on the floor with his friend for 20 minutes and fucking listen to him stop breathing. Like,
No.
I'm sure that happens, but I'm sure that somebody being gunned down and you have to keep moving is more likely. So that would have probably brought a little bit more realism to the movie.
Yeah. No.
They went for the Academy Award and missed the chance to make it really good by
Yeah.
making it really real.
Or
And
even having him injured instead of
Mhm.
killed. He's injured and his friend
He's dead weight.
leaves, huh?
He's
Or
dead
just
weight
leave
at
him
that
there
point.
with the girl.
Yeah.
Because
Something.
I like that. Like, if any scene that I really enjoyed was the girl with the child, because
that broke my heart.
it did too. Yeah, it was very sad because how much the girl, you know, one, she didn't, it's not my baby. I don't know whose baby it is, but now I have to take care of this thing. You know,
I'm also hiding.
Yeah, I'm also
It was
hiding.
like its own little Quiet Place movie set inside a war movie.
Yeah, and they didn't take the Hollywood route where, like, you know, he has a fling with this girl or stuff. No, it's not part. She's more just a roadblock for him emotionally than physically, compared to the Germans outside.
Right.
You know, because she tells him all, stay here with me. Stay here with me. And, you know, he's like, I gotta fucking do this. I would really like just to chill out, man, and, you know, sit here and eat the snacks with you that I brought. You know, brought some snacks, and I got some milk for the baby, you know. But, and, you know, like, you know, I don't know when World War II ended, but I think that girl is probably not gonna make it out okay, or either the baby, because 1917, they got some time, you know.
Yeah, and it's not good at any time.
Yeah.
So the last bitch that I have is at the end of the movie, when he does walk up to that last platoon, not a goddamn one was watching their six. Nobody was watching behind them. He walked up on them, sitting all in the same fucking direction, except for one person.
Yeah.
If they could have, like, tossed a couple grenades, like, the Germans could have walked up and been like, hold this. Like,
yeah, that's back before they realized, oh, we could just circle around them and do this.
Like, there was nobody on the defensive there. They were all just like fucking sitting ducks, and that shit bothered me a lot.
There might have been, like, if we're like in the imaginary, like, storytelling, there might have been sentries there, you know, like actual guards, but because they saw a man walk in here with a British,
you don't see any of that though. You don't see a single person. If you rewatch that scene, there's nobody on the outside of those woods. There's nobody. They are all gathered at story time, and nobody is paying attention. He walked up next to one of them and sat down next to one of them, and they didn't bat an eye. Like, what? Do you know that you're at a war? This isn't Mr. Rogers fucking story time. Like, and I'm sure the general's giving out orders, so everybody's very focused, but they should have had one guy face the opposite fucking direction. Like, just one. Like, because he walked up on him too easy.
Yeah.
And
there should have been,
whatever.
I understand, like, what you're saying, where, like, someone's there, be like, got a man coming in, you know. But I guess that's why they called them fronts, because we're here, the bad guys are over there, and the bad guys never go, maybe we should go over there, go here.
Could you imagine the guy that's just like, why don't we just go behind them? If they think we're over here, why don't we just go behind them? Like, we know that strategy happened during the Civil War. Like,
the flanking.
Yeah, we learned all that stuff.
Yeah.
Why no, see, no, that makes it even less believable. Like, I know the British didn't really have their hand so much in the Civil War as it was like the American British versions, but still, like, they know of it.
What do
They
you
know
mean?
of it.
They didn't fight in a style like the Civil War?
No.
Oh,
That, like, they weren't, the British themselves weren't necessarily in the Civil War. They were like
like
the
involved in the American Civil War?
right,
Yeah.
right. So like their involvement was they used to be British.
Yeah.
Like, that's how involved they were. That was the extent of their involvement. But they've still heard of flanking throughout history.
Yeah.
Why was nobody turned around looking for bad guys? Why were there how many men was it? 1,600 fucking men or some shit?
Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
They were D company.
No,
So A,
well,
B, and
yeah,
C were up on the front.
even more reason to turn the fuck around. You're D company, you're the back. You're watching 1,600 men's back, and nobody was facing the opposite fucking direction. That is insanely stupid. But so is this complaint, because this movie is a really good movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, so all right, fuck it. Let's go. Let's move to
I'll
the
say
next
another
thing.
thing. Like, I know
Okay.
you don't like war movies.
Yeah.
Like, um, two things. One, like the reason I also picked this is because I know you've mentioned that, and I know you've also said like I don't like westerns, and I was
Mhm.
like, you need to watch Tombstone,
Yeah.
and like that blew your mind.
Right.
But
I can see the logic with that.
yeah, I was hoping like, oh wow, war is so cool. No,
Yeah. Yeah.
but the other thing that I really want to is that of a war movie, this
Mhm.
never gives me that sense of like there's a lot of war movies, especially ones involving the United States, that always give this like, you know, and that's
Heroic.
why we're the best.
Yeah.
This is British, and this is kind of like, and that's how Grandpop, made it out.
Right.
It's just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
it's like, yes, he does heroic and brave stuff, but he never like honks his horn, toots his horn,
Yeah.
strokes his dick,
Yeah.
whereas it feels with a lot of these American style movies, and then Tom Hanks beat back the Germans and the Japanese all by
Yeah.
himself,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and then he
But
went to Vietnam, you know.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're right. I mean, I can appreciate about this movie, but
Yeah.
yeah.
But all right, would you go see this motherfucker in the theaters?
Knowing what I know now,
Mm-hmm.
no.
Okay.
And this is a really hard one because I could say yes just so I could see it that large and like that, at that sound quality.
Mm-hmm.
It would be an experience, but no. Obviously, I believe you would.
Yes. Yeah, I would definitely. This came out in 2019. And it only had 3 months of no, not even like a short theater life. Because then it was taken out. Like it's like one of those A24 movies that just has that quick release and then is out.
Right.
And that was one of these. Yeah. And this was a fluke of me like finding this. I was just like, I like that one actor. He was in a great movie called Captain Fantastic.
Okay.
So that's but yeah, I would definitely go see it in the theater.
I think that this movie is it's one of the ones that was like pre-pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like at the end, it was like before they started putting movies in for like a month and releasing them at the same time. But I remember when this movie came out, and I remember it got great reviews.
Yeah.
And I remember people saying that movie's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Like, word, it's a war movie. I don't care for those, so I'm not going to watch it. But I
Yeah.
remember it got accolades like immediately.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
How many stars you give this?
I'm gonna do something that will probably baffle people if they've gotten this far. I'm gonna give it 5 stars.
you you just enjoyed, or like where does the 5 go?
Cinematic masterpiece. Um, it it does a really good job with atmosphere and immersing you in the movie, and everybody's a good actor except for that one fucking kid with the most English kid, the young one with the red hair. Maybe he was Scottish or something. In the back of the truck,
Oh yeah, yeah.
that kid where he's like he was sitting like right on the edge, and it was kind of facing him because he was doing a lot of the talking.
Yeah.
That fucking kid, I didn't like him. But anyways, the acting was good. There was some awesome quotes, or there was one awesome quote. It the movie is good. It's just it's not my thing.
Yeah.
So I can still recognize that it's that good and give it 5 stars. I just don't care about it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm giving it a 5. If we had the ability for a 6 or 7th star, I'd probably do it with this because I enjoyed it so much. But I give it 5, because like I said, this is not nostalgia 5, like
Right,
Rocky
right,
Horror.
right.
This is like that new wave. Like
Mhm,
if, No Country or There Will Be Blood.
mhm.
If we were doing those are 5 stars. Guess what? We don't need to review those movies because they're 5 fucking star movies.
You
They're
know what
fucking
always
great.
uh, what always baffles me is when somebody mentions No Country and
There Will
it
Be Blood.
yeah, but they don't mention Gangs of New York. And I'm just
The,
like,
the Martin Scorsese movie.
yeah, with Daniel Day-Lewis and
Yeah.
Leonardo DiCaprio. Like that movie is I think it got laughed at, but it's like really well done.
The acting.
Um yeah,
Like, yeah, you got Leonardo and Daniel Day-Lewis really good, but
right.
then they put like
Cameron Diaz or some
Cameron
shit.
Diaz,
Yeah.
and she tries to
She didn't look
pretend.
bad, but yeah.
Yeah, but she can't do an Irish accent.
No.
So what she's doing in there is making, like, I guess, donkey noises.
Yeah.
And that's when I just can't, like, I don't. I think in other situations that movie would have been really good,
Mhm.
but I think it was the choice of acting that really brought it down because of her.
Okay.
Because of her.
Yeah, that's her fault.
And the kid from ET, maybe, because
Yeah.
he's also trying to do one, and it just kind of. But Daniel Day Lewis, once more, giving it his all, no matter what he does.
Yeah. I mean, he's
Uh,
honestly the only thing I fucking remember from that movie.
yeah, yeah. Bill the Butcher is a great villain,
Yeah.
no matter what.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I think that.
But I just feel like those, like, not okay, it's not as good, but it's still that style. Like, it's still that newer style, old telling movie. And even
Yeah,
Django and The Harder They fall into that category.
yeah,
It's a new vision on an old story, basically.
yes, and it has this just really well done. You
Mhm,
know, Like anybody can cook a fucking steak, but there's only certain steaks that I've ever had that are just like, yeah, that hit it.
mhm.
That cooked perfectly. Oh, I ordered a steak from a takeout restaurant, and they put that fucking piece of plastic over top, and the steam just
Mhm.
made it from that nice pink in the middle to just gray.
Yeah, that always annoyed me, man. I every time I ever sent out anything that had fries, wings, or something that could continue to cook, I cut all 4 corners off the styrofoam container so
Mm-hmm.
that it could vent.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, that's